Mel, everybody, can you hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, please let me know. I am gonna just do this. I think it's it's important if you want to be a market participant. I think it's important to be active at good times and at bad times, and I think it's important to evaluate what's going on here. Kind of take a look at the bigger picture and try to get a sense in terms of what could be happening. It's been pretty rough month, definitely. Hello, Ethan. Hello, Brian. Let me go ahead and record this thing just in case if the X folks want to hear this. Well, here we go. I'm just going to go through the indexes. I'm just going to go through some of the major stocks here. A lot of things have plummeted even just after hours. So I'm just going to talk briefly about it. First of all, you look at the SPX, which is the S&P 500 index. You can see how it's kind of broken down underneath the blue line over here, Tenkan, right? Like last time back in the indicator chart, we perfectly back tested it. Right now, we kind of broken underneath that. Should be scared. Well, depends on how you look at it. I mean, the month is still early. As crazy as it sounds. Could this monthly candle go all the way down here to the Kijun? You know, like, or could it just be a wick down here, and next thing you know, you have like a very, very nice hammer? Nobody really knows, right? You just got another 3 weeks of trading going on, so it's still early in the month. A lot of things can happen. Even over here, you have. I remember the sentiment whenever we're just kind of coming back down here. I thought that September was it, but next thing you know, October really is just continuing, just kind of plumb below the Tenkan Kitchen here. And I think everybody, including myself, back here in October 2023 was extremely demoralizing. You panic busted again, Nicholas. Miguel, hello. Welcome, everybody. So the question is whether or not we are just having one of those, crazy scares before the next leg up, or are we going to end up plummeting from here? I think we're at a juncture where we have to kind of decide here. Because I think it's okay to break down underneath the tank, and stock market on the bull market does that all the time before further bullish continuation. And even here during this like bull market between the great financial crisis and the dot-com bubble, you can see how it just kind of closed underneath the tank in here, over and over again. That doesn't really bother me. And the month is still early, so I don't know how it's going to end up closing. But it did end up, so far, it did end up, getting underneath my support level here, including the ARK over here too. Initially, I was hoping that it was just going to be a backtest of ARK and it's going to, holding it here sometime for the month of March here. But we'll see. I mean, over here, I did end up kind of digging dip down underneath the ARK here a couple of times. So, who knows what's going to happen for sure. But I think the month is still early. NASDAQ also broke down underneath my horizontal again levels, also broke down underneath the Tenkan here. Now, NASDAQ breaking down underneath the Tenkan, again, it might just be a wick. Who knows? Sometimes even if it breaks down underneath, you can still kind of break out of it. But yeah, it's showing a lot of short-term weakness here. It's really hard to say. Look at Russell 2000. It broke down underneath my Kijun over here, broke down underneath my GAN level over here. The cloud is all the way down here, I guess, at like 1900s, somewhere around there, which corresponds to IWM. The top of the cloud right here is around 192.86. Is there a possibility for it to kind of go back down to this arc and go back down to this top of the cloud here and back test it? There's always that possibility, right? Anytime you're at the downside, it decides to do irrational things. It can do whatever it wants to do. I'm just basically showing you level after level. It's just. Yeah, it's this downtrend has been quite vicious. As far as I'm concerned, this is still a big giant cup. This is still a handle over here, but I don't know how low the handle is going to go. Nobody really knows that. So hey, you've been able to catch me live. I know. I decided to just do one on a Monday just to kind of see how things are. It's still about 200. I think that's going to be a pretty decent psychological level. I would not be surprised if it decided to come back and back test the cloud down here again. And even if it does that, it's still going to be a handle here for this big giant cup here. QQQ, yeah, it's getting a little bit tired. It needed to kind of correct here, I guess. But how far is it going? Nobody knows. SPY, yeah, the same thing. ARK Fund is still looking pretty decent, although it's still broken underneath my technical kitchen here so far, right? And then if you're also looking ARK Fund, some very interesting look it's giving right now, which is it broke through the upper Bollinger Band, expanded a little bit, but simply just way too far, way too fast, couldn't really break through the monthly Ishimoku cloud, right? So it has to come back and back test some things before and form a little bit of a higher low before for a bullish continuation, assuming this is still a bull trend. It broke down underneath my technical kitchen on a monthly. So where are we at right now? We're kind of the 20-month moving average. And we're kind of holding that area so far. After hours is underneath of that. Again, the month is still early, but it's just kind of absolutely insane in terms of what it's doing. If you look at the 2-week cloud here, you can see that it's actually put through the cloud and just back testing the 2-week cloud right here. So nothing too scary. If you look at the weekly cloud, you can go down a little bit further to like $44. And that would still be a higher low. Nobody really knows. Look at how vicious this like big giant downtrend has been. And the volume actually has been pretty decent too on this big giant, downtrend here. So unfortunate, it is what it is. At the same time, you have the US dollar basically also doing the same thing, right? You think US dollar going down is going to be bullish for Bitcoin, bullish for stock market. Nope, decided to come back down to the cloud here. Decided to punch through the monthly cloud here, punch through the Tengen Kijun, and broke down, and it broke down together with the stock market. Very, very interesting, right? Look at the 2-year. What has the 2-year been doing? 2-year has been plummeting over the last couple of months, including the month of March, right? 10-year is holding okay, but they both pretty much down together with the market. And then you have like BlackRock spilling all of this narratives about how inflation is going to be an issue because of tariffs. I'm not really seeing any signs of it, to be honest. Like all those narratives that are kind of crap to me. No, I don't have any more of those like double leverage semiconductor exposure anymore. Right now, I have like this double leverage SPY, which is called SSO. I've been holding that, and I've been buying into that a little bit at a time, and then finally, I just think that if this is like the rotation, we're gonna end up getting really risk on. I'm gonna try to buy it like those higher beta stuff. I could turn out to be a complete fool, and I could end up losing a lot of money if this is like a true, recession, stagflation, whatever you call it. If that's really coming, then I'm gonna turn out to be like a big giant fool. And rotating into something that's a little bit high risk into something that's completely high risk because of like revenge trading or whatever. So don't follow what I do, but I'm just trying to show you a couple of things. One is I don't really buy the whole like BlackRock, Larry Fink saying that inflation is going to keep on going up. Whenever they have like headlines like that, it usually means that inflation is not going to go up anymore. You have oil broken down, had a bearish cross the Tengen Kijun. Right now we're at the bottom of the cloud, forming a kind of like that kidneys bounce kind of thing. It looks like it wants to roll over the floor. It looks like oil wants to go down. If that's the case, I really have a hard time seeing inflation really being that big of a problem. Yields have been kind of plummeting down here too. I just have a hard time really seeing inflation being really that big of an issue, right? Even like mortgage rates, 30-year, I mean, it's not like plummeting down or anything like that, but even now it's been like gone from 7.8% to like 6%. So relatively speaking, we're heading toward the right direction. Lower high, lower low, right? Lower high here. So I think we're trending to the right direction. So I'm not sure about the whole like inflation narrative. So anyway, start about some of the bigger stocks here that you probably are interested in. Palantir after hours. Well, I mean, it already went down like 10% to like 14% to something insane, right? And then after hours, you're going down from $76.38 to like $72. And the question is like, is there going to be any particular support here to be looked at, right? Well, we did have some support here, but I think just because it's kind of got a huge parabola, I think we're really trying to challenge the parabola and make sure that we have enough support here to break through to go back up. Yeah, I know. Anthony's holding pretty well too. I think we can talk a little bit more about that. I saw an interesting tweet saying from once cheap energy, oil going down. Yeah. And when they renewed it, that they want lower interest rates, so they're scaring everyone, forcing the Fed to lower rates. That's one way to look at it. I think the other way is they're just playing a game. They just want to bring everything down, so they can pump everything up again. Sometimes the reason why you have stocks going down is because they need to deleverage. I don't necessarily think that the cycle's over. I don't think Trump is dumb. I don't think Trump really doesn't care about the market. Like I don't. I think Trump's actually gotten a lot smarter. Not smarter. I think Trump is actually more scripted. This this presidency. He is not really going off script anymore. Like he changed. I don't know what I don't know what happened, but he's going on script and he's actually like anyway. If you look at Palantir, what I have to say is that yeah, there are a couple of support levels, right? One is the 1.272. Obviously, it's broken down underneath that right now. So far, it was holding that over the last few weeks, but now it's kind of broken down underneath of that. You look at the support band, we're currently testing it right now, but after hours, it's kind of broken down underneath of that right now. So I'm gonna have to go for some higher time frame, right? Because it's also broke down underneath my kitchen over here on the weekly. If you look at the 2 week, you have the kitchen down here, which is gonna be $72.87. You look at the monthly at the kitchen over here, which is gonna be $73.32, right? So somewhere around here, you're gonna have a support zone. Kitchen's all the way down here, 66. Can that hit? Sure, it can. Like nobody says that none of these levels are gonna hit, just like everybody thought that like 120 was absolutely insane, right? The the truth is that this is still a bull trend, and nobody knows how far down it has to correct before for a bullish continuation. But it's still a bull trend. It's a low bullish band is still all the way extended to the downside, even though it's starting to kind of go flat and sideways because the last month or two we really haven't done anything. It's just kind of going sideways and consolidating. But we're still above some pretty key monthly support above the 10 indication here. So we'll see whether or not these guys hold. If not, then the market's then Palantir is screwed. Whatever. And the next, it might come back test all of the previous all time high here. I doubt that's going to happen. But hey, it is a pretty big parabolic bull trend here. A lot of people saying there's a lot of these daily gaps underneath that has to fill. I don't really think that any of those have to fill. Even the daily cloud right now is kind of back testing the bottom of the cloud right now. So I I'm just gonna say like I don't think it's a buy, I don't think it's a sell, I think it's a hold because I have gone through so much fear of Palantir over the years, and like so many people are saying so many things. Most of them are involving gaps, and a lot of them just really haven't become true. So I'm just it's still a bull trend, so I'm just gonna keep on holding, even though you got a big giant shooting star right now. You have a bearish engulfing candle here, pretty scary. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep holding and see what happens because I still see a parabola still being intact, and I'm crazy. Tesla. You want me to talk about Tesla? Be completely frank with you. It broke down level after level after level after level after level. When it goes up, it just doesn't really care. It doesn't care about resistance at all. It got all the way around to the 480s and got a little bit of trees or top over here. It got way outside the upper Bollinger Band here on the monthly. Decided to come back down, right? This is completely normal, but it's going a little bit too far, too fast, more than what people would expect. I guess this is what Tesla does, right? I gotta say, I will before I go a little bit more into that, I'm gonna look into some of the comments here. Yeah, he's got a team that he wants. Now he has everything in place. I think actually he's right now he's actually more seasoned, more of a seasoned politician, not like last time. I think last time he just kind of like he didn't think he was going to win. He was just winging it. But this time he actually knows people. I think the hiatus that he took actually ended up talking to a lot of people and actually like making a lot of connections, learning a lot of things, and going back to the grassroots and actually hearing out what people actually are getting frustrated by. And I think he's actually doing better than I expected. So I think he's a pretty smart guy, and I think that he cares about the market. And I think all of this is probably just a charade. And I think he's letting all of these things happen because I don't think he's gonna want to be remembered as the guy who crashed the stock market. Like, there was just absolutely no way that he's gonna be remembered as that guy, right? But it's the so far the correction is worse than COVID. This is COVID right here. This is COVID right here. So far the correction is underneath the 20-month moving average. Absolutely insane, right? Are we talking about maybe this is not the parabolic move that we would expect like we did over here? Maybe this is a lame duck bull market that I did thought about the possibility kind of like over here, right? Where it just kind of pushed the Bollinger Band up here a little bit and just kind of broke down and just kind of go sideways and plummet down, right? Are we going to have another lame duck bull market where that was it and just kind of end up going ba 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 ba, and then go up many years later? I suppose that's a possibility, but again, you have to take into consideration that as crazy as it sounds, if I don't use any indicators, until price plummet all the way down to like 140, and I'm gonna sound absolutely insane for saying this, until price plummet all the way down to like below this wick over here, like 138.8, this is still a higher low. And I'm saying this, it's not because I think it's funny, because it's not. I mean, a lot of people are losing money. I'm losing money. A lot of people are losing faith. I'm starting to lose faith here a little bit, right? Because I'm having disbelief. And my laughter is not so much like I'm laughing at you or I'm laughing at anything, but it's just been absolutely ridiculous. Are we gonna have to like are we gonna have to like test this trend line over here? Is that what is going on? I don't know. Does it have to go down further? Like, where do you draw the trend line? Is it this wick? Is it that wick? I don't know, right? That's probably a horrible way to do it. If you look at the Ichimoku, after hours is around 215, right? 215 is almost close to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud on a monthly. It just punches through the top of the Ichimoku cloud like it's butter, right? But I generally Ichimoku cloud should mean something. Like here, the top of the Ichimoku cloud, here, the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. I'm going to show you a 2 week here too. I think it means something, right? Could it backtest the bottom of Ichimoku cloud down here? It's possible. It's possible, right? And if it does do that, can it push through underneath of it? Yeah. Should it respect the cloud? I think it should respect the cloud at some point if it punches through that. Theoretically, I think it might be very similar to this candle over here where it's just a wick, right? But over here, you have a lot more support. You have the bottom of the cloud, you have Tenkan Kijun over here. Right now, you're broken down way underneath the Tenkan Kijun. You're getting right into a cloud here. We'll see. Again, the bottom of the cloud is 213.15. If it finds support there, great. If it doesn't, maybe it's temporary wick down. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Just like I thought the 20-month moving average is going to hold, right? It is so far it hasn't. Again, the month is still early. Can all of this just be a big giant wick that is as scary, if not scarier, than what COVID was happening? Possible, but right now we're still hitting some important support zone that I didn't think it was gonna have to go back to, but it is. Since so be it. Nobody thought that. I didn't think the price should be all the way up in like the 480s. If you ask me whether or not I should buy Tesla in the 400, I'm gonna laugh at you like, no, because I think that a correction down to like the 200s is possible. Was it that thing that was going to go all the way down to like 220, 215? No, of course not. But this is Tesla. It can do whatever the heck it wants, right? On the upside, breaks all kinds of support, resistance. On the downside, breaks all kinds of support. It does that all the time, right? And whenever it looks like it's about to roll over, it doesn't. Whenever it looks like it's about to roll over, it doesn't. Whenever it looks like it's going to roll over, it doesn't. Whenever it looks like it's going to roll over, it doesn't, right? Whenever it looks like it's going to roll over, it doesn't. It's just a part of Tesla's personality. I don't claim to know anything, but if you ask me whether or not I want to buy Tesla versus NVIDIA, I would say I would want to buy Tesla over NVIDIA if I have to choose. Because if you do a spread chart over here with NVIDIA over Tesla, you can see some weakness here. you can really see a lot of weakness here in terms of the RSI, and also just weakness here in general. Like the spread is trying to push back about the 10 indication, but it looks like it's getting ready to have like a bearish cross over here, right? If you look at the weekly, I think that's even like more apparent here. It looks like this NVIDIA over Tesla spread it's broken down underneath the Ichimoku cloud and is trying to break back inside Ichimoku cloud, right? I don't know whether or not it's going to just be a wick, but this still looks like weakness to me, right? Higher high, like lower high, lower low type situation on the NVIDIA over Tesla spread. So that's also part of the reason why I've kind of allocated money over the last few weeks from NVIDIA to Tesla, because I was just kind of seeing a little bit of like a bearish back test here. Even look at the horizontal zone, right? You don't look at Ichimoku, just look at the horizontal zone. It looks like it broken out underneath this horizontal zone over here is having a bearish back test. So if I have to rotate money, I'm going to rotate away from like NVIDIA exposure to Tesla. That's my thinking anyway. Does it mean that it's going to have to work out? Nobody knows, right? I don't know. Nobody knows the answer to that. Is still holding 20-month moving average okay, right? I don't know, but I'm looking at here. I see weakness, so I just end up rotating to it. And the next thing you know, Tesla just ended up plummeting down straight 2 months down, and it went from like 400 all the way to 222. Very, very Tesla. I'm gonna try to add as much as I can. If it breaks underneath the cloud, I'm still gonna try to add to it, knowing that it could end up going down further because it has momentum to go down further. And this is coming from like a completely objective way to look at it, right? Does it have a little bit further to go? I just show you the monthly cloud at the bottom 213, right? 2-month Ichimoku cloud, we already kind of hit the bottom of that, right? Weekly Ichimoku cloud, the top of Ichimoku cloud here around 211, 212, somewhere around there. It's a falling knife. It's a hot knife, right? Increasing volume over here too. Capitulation is happening. Who's capitulating? I don't know. But capitulation here is happening. So um, probably not a wise idea to try to sell a capitulation. May not be a wise idea to buy capitulation, especially since it just kind of breaks support after support after support. When I didn't think it was going to break down further, it ended up doing it. So that's why I ended up scaling in, and now I have more Tesla than I thought I was going to have. I think my cost average is still maybe like a little bit about 200, somewhere around there. But if you're saying that this is like wave one, I think it's plausible, right? Initially, I was thinking this is wave one, this is wave two, and this is like wave one of wave three sub wave one. This is wave three sub wave two, but the wave three sub wave two is getting a little bit too down here. Like what the heck is going on? We're still at a pretty important horizontal zone here, so we'll see whether or not it holds. Nobody can guarantee you that. It's natural for it to go down to 213 to 15 range because this is where those wicks over there are. So these are where those wicks over there are, and these are where those wicks over there are, right? It's natural for it to want to do that. But with that said, this is not sustainable. And at some point, it would break. And at some point, you're going to end up having like some kind of retracement because right now you have the candle here way underneath the low Bollinger Band, right? Whenever you have that, usually the risk is not as, how do you say that? The risk is a little bit more mitigated because in general, when you have something like this on a weekly, that generally signals that maybe a reversal is going to probably happen soon, right? I mean, if you hit the upper Bollinger and low Bollinger Band, generally that's kind of what it means. I mean, obviously, you can go down a lot further, but a lot of times when you hit it, it just kind of make a little bit of reversal. When you hit it, it kind of makes a reversal, right? So we'll see what happens over here. I think that the bears are expending a lot of energy, really try to slice for all these support over here. So we'll see what Tesla end up doing over time. I can talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is absolutely insane right now. It's like way underneath the weekly Bollinger Band. This is unsustainable, right? Are we talking about like a big giant parabolic bull trend like this, where it just kind of stay outside your Bollinger for like weeks and weeks and weeks? Maybe, but it's not even touching it right now. Like here, at least you're touching it on the way up, right? I think that these kinds of moves are generally not sustainable. You're gonna having a retracement, at least back to the mean up here to like the 120s, 130s at some point. even during the 2022 downtrend, you don't have a weekly candle like that. Even as it plummet all the way down like 85%, it didn't have like a weekly candle that looked like this. This is highly manipulated, this is highly inorganic, and this is highly unusual, right? I did again here using the monthly chart. I mean, you still get some ways down before you touch the 20-month moving average and see how it reacts there. Do I think it has to do that? No, not necessarily. The But right now it is breaking down underneath the Ichimoku Tenkan, right? It's showing a lot of weakness here. You look at the weekly, it's broken into the weekly Ichimoku cloud over here too, right? It's showing a lot of weakness here. Not really so far having that good of a reaction and bouncing off the Ichimoku cloud, but all of these are very kind of inorganic, if you had to ask me, because it's just very, very much stretched to the downside. How much further can it go on the downside? Nobody really knows. But yeah, I just kind of want to show you that Microsoft. I'm gonna go through the big tag here. Microsoft showing extreme weakness here. Broken underneath the 1.236. Right, have a rounded top kind of look to it. Got rejected here at the arc here after multiple attempts. Couldn't push through the 1.414, so down we go, right? Well, we're at this horizontal zone over here. Could we end up holding that area over there? And if we use, linear instead of fib, are we going to end up holding the 1.236 here? Possible, right? But it is showing weakness, which is unfortunate. One thing I like to usually look at when it comes to where the stock is located, in terms of where it's doing is, I like to look at the Ichimoku on the monthly. It couldn't break through the Tenkan here, right? So down to the kitchen here we go. Probably another 20 points to like 360 or something like that potentially. Look at the 20-month moving average. It broke it down underneath of that, right? I hate seeing this because whenever it breaks down underneath the 20-month moving average, it might mean that we go down to the low Bollinger Band here, which is like the 330s. It doesn't always have to, right? It doesn't always have to, but it's at risk for doing that. Is the month of March just a fake out? Is this just one of those like crazy months where everything is being plummeted, but we don't really mean it kind of thing? Meta's back to the kitchen. I thought that whenever prices in the 700s, everybody gets super bullish on Meta. And I got concerned because I thought that was going to get rejected here at the 1.414, and again rejected, came back down, back test the Tenkan over here is not a bad thing, but you do have a little bit of evening star look to it. So it is showing some potential short-term weakness, but you have an evening star over here too. So I don't think that necessarily has to work out. All it's doing right now is just getting back closer to Tenkan. Meta is still probably one of the more bullish stocks, even if the price dropped from like 700s to like 500s. Amazon kind of doing the same thing. Got rejected at 1.272, come back down to the Tenkan. Couldn't quite hold it. Maybe it's just some temporary weakness, but it's basically a back test of this horizontal zone over here, right? Maybe going back down to the previous all-time high here. I think it's entirely possible, but so far it's still find some pretty decent support. Google, broken down underneath the Tenkan. There's a possibility for it to come back down here to the kitchen and to the arc here. A little bit weakness there. Apple is down like 5% today or 6% today. Got rejected here at 2.272. Come back down, tested the Tenkan here. Apple actually looks relatively healthy. AVGO, pretty good earnings, right? Market doesn't care. 3 big giant candles to the downside, still being engulfed by this green candle over here. So maybe we're building a little bit of rising 3 kind of pattern to it, especially since this selling volume is not really that committal, especially when you're getting back to the Tenkan here. I think we might end up closing back above that. Who knows? Or it might end up breaking down underneath this horizontal zone over here where it broke out and chart back test. Who knows, right? But it's still a higher high, high low type situation here. So that's one of the more stronger stocks here in the market. Overall, I think I can talk about all of this, big stocks, but what you guys really care most about are probably some of the retail friendly stocks like SOFI, right? What is SOFI doing? You're at a support zone over here. It did end up breaking below the Tenkan Vision down here below, right? You did end up breaking down below this big giant initially, big giant engulfing candle that engulf all these price action, but right now you kind of broken down underneath of that here a little bit. Where is it at right now? Where is at 0.5 fib at 10.95? It seemed to have bounced off of that so far. And then on top of that, you also have the bottom of the immature Ichimoku cloud over here. You still have the Tengen Kitchen over here, where it's just kind of broken down because of how vicious the overall market has been. But overall, it's still forming a higher low. It's still back testing a horizontal zone over here, where it broke out from, which is not really a bearish thing. Um, but yeah, it sucks that price went all the way from like 18 all the way down to 11, right? Which is why I always say don't chase. And it's probably not a good idea to chase right when it gets to 0.786 log fib, because generally you have a good chance the first time you get rejected and something bad happens, you end up breaking through like how many fib levels, like 1, 2, 3, get to the fourth fib level, come back and back testing 2. It's like 4 step forward, 2 steps back. It's not anything bad. Um, but yeah, SoFi, you have the 20-month moving average down here, all the way down like $9 or $10. Can things go down further and hit the area? Maybe. It doesn't have to. It has a lot of support level about it. The bears took out a lot of energy trying to break through the Tenkan Kitchen and the immature Ichimoku cloud to get to 0.5. So we'll see whether or not that would end up getting reversed, and that all just turns out to be wick, or we end up going down a little bit further to the 20-month moving averages is 9.7 or something like that, right? Affirm is a stock that I own. Is it correcting further than I thought it would? Yeah, because I really thought that at some point, if the market does well, the next step is going to be 92.64. If it doesn't, if it ends up coming back down, it's going to back down, plummet back down to 0.236, right? Well, we're there right now, right? We're right there. And we also kind of overshot that down here a little bit. We're testing the kitchen down here. So again, very similar. We have a horizontal support zone over here after a breakout, back testing it. Very, very similar morphology to SoFi actually, right? Not a bearish structure, right? Still a cup, still a handle, not a bearish structure at all. But because I'm looking things in log, price went from like $82 to $46. Yeah, it sucks, right? But consideration price, that price went from like $8 to 80. Um, that's just something to take in consideration, right? You're just basically backtesting some support levels over here. So far, it might be holding. Shopify, I was eyeing the cloud here for a very long time. I really thought that maybe at some point it's going to come back and backtest the cloud. It was showing a lot of relative strength, compared to the rest of the market. But you did end up breaking above the cloud, come back down, back tested it, fill it from resistance to support. It's not a bad thing. And Price was way outside, way outside above the cloud anyway. It was way above the tank in here anyway. Come back down is actually healthy. Higher highs, higher lows. This is a good market structure. There's nothing really like broken here on the higher time frame. But how low does it get? I don't know. Whenever price got to the tank in here, I was like, well, maybe it can hold. No, I was wrong. Came back down to the kitchen. Maybe that can hold. And then like August of 2024 came. You have this, Japan yen carry trade. I'm like, nope, broke down underneath. Turned out to be just a big giant wick over here. Does the top of the cloud here hold? Maybe. I'm not gonna, say that it has to anymore. Here, same thing. Tengen thought it was gonna hold. Nope, broke down underneath. Grab liquidity. Big giant bullish engulfing candle. Make the next leg up. Right. Can it come all the way down to the kitchen down here around like the mid 80s? Sure, I'm not gonna say no. Right. But it's at a pretty decent support level here. Robinhood, man, this thing is crazy, right? Hit the 0.86 level here, got rejected here with a vengeance, came back down here. Where's it want to try to hit? Is it going to try and hit the 0.618? It's possible, right? $32.41. You're almost there, just a few dollars away. But in between, you have the Tengen Kitchen over here. It just kind of broke through that like butter. I suspect this is going to be a wick here. Maybe the wick will touch all the way down to 0.618, maybe. But are you bearish on this market structure? Maybe. It's got a little bit of evening started, bearish engulfing candle, assuming the candle closed like this for the month, right? But again, you still have another like 3 weeks of trading to it. So can it go down a lot further? Yeah, you can. But it can also just turn out to be like a wick over here, right? So Not really any bad market structure. It's still higher highs and higher lows. It still looks very, very nice. The lower Bollinger Band, where are you? The lower Bollinger is starting to curl up here a little bit because you got a bearish engulfing candle, right? But it's still very, very much of a very impulsive bull trend to the downside. 20-minute moving average is all the way down here in the 20s. I don't think it has to come back and back test that horizontal zone. But again, now that I said it, maybe it will. I doubt it. I think the bears already expend a lot of energy just to kind of push through the level that is at right now. It's probably going to end up touching 0.618. That's my guess. But whenever they have a short-term downtrend, they decide to plummet things down. They decided to just smash everybody. They want to do whatever they want to do, right? Broke down underneath the support band. Is it a bad thing? Maybe, but look at what happened over here. Broke down underneath it for a couple of weeks and just broke back above. The most important thing that does make me a little bit wondering about is whenever it breaks down underneath the 20-week moving average, I do wonder if it has to touch the low Bollinger Band. I do wonder if it has to touch the low Bollinger Band. It doesn't always have to, but that's just kind of what stocks generally gravitate to is their Bollinger Bands. If it kind of breaks down from one side, it generally likes to go to the other. If it doesn't, hold the middle, right? Not to like fear monger or anything like that. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think it has to because I think the 0.618 is going to be a pretty strong level here. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to be bearish here on a stock that's trying to form a higher low over here. Like I'm just not going to be that bearish, even though you do have a little bit of an evening star look to it. Even though it probably has a little bit more downside here to go. Why am I not selling? Try to buy in downside because time to sell is probably up there. I decided not to because it's higher low, and I want to play the cycle. I don't think the cycle is over yet, so I'm deciding not to. And this is what I get, and I completely accept that. A lot of people don't, but to each their own, right? Yeah, I can talk more about like MSTR. I think this is a stock that is a pretty hot topic here. All that commotion down like 16-17% today. All of this just basically backtest this arc over here, right? After this big rejection here at 1.618, it basically just broken down underneath the 1.272 here again, backtest the arc over there. Does it go sideways for longer and even get to this zone over here with the angle? Is possible, right? It could flip the angle over here from resistance here to support. Is possible. Could it plummet all the way down a lot further? That's also possible. Bitcoin is dropping right now as we speak, right? So it's possible it can go down further, right? Although I think Bitcoin is probably going to end at when it hits 75,000. I'm going to show you why I thought that was going to be the case. But yeah, so far MicroStrategy is kind of doing what MicroStrategy does, is trying to find support after cooling down from like the 500s. Right now it's in the 200s. Is trying to find support. Who knows where the support ultimately is going to be, right? It's a downtrend. And the volume has been spiking up over here the last couple of weeks, so who knows, right? Coinbase. What the heck is happening with Coinbase? I got a Gann arc over here. Initially, I was hoping that this horizontal zone over here would hold. Nah, on a Monday, decided to plummet all the way down to the arc here. Didn't even care about 0.382 here at all. Just went all the way down to the arc. Where else are we heading? Well, we headed to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud here, right? I think Coinbase just been plummeted very, very severely. Can it break down underneath the cloud? I have a comment on X. Like, what if it breaks down underneath the cloud here? It breaks down underneath the cloud, then it breaks down underneath the cloud. Like, sometimes the cloud is not the end all be all. Sometimes you can break down underneath of that, and it's just bouncing off just fine, right? Because sometimes they might just say, "Oh, you look at the cloud. Kennedy's cat's looking at the cloud. I'm gonna take your stop loss. I'm gonna take your shares away from you." Which is kind of what happened over here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a support. I don't know what else to say. Can things break down support? It certainly can. I don't have any magic, you know, 8 ball or anything like that. I'm just basically based on what I'm seeing here. But overall, if you're looking at the monthly, it did end up breaking down underneath the 20-month moving average, right? So far, it might all just turn out to be a wick, but it is down there. It also broke down underneath my kitchen over here, right? So yeah, maybe it all turns out to be a wig. Who knows? Kind of like it was over here. Who knows? Maybe not. But I'm just kind of looking at this vicious downtrend here over the last couple months, and I'm asking myself, is this it? Is this a double top and you just end up plummeting down from here, or is this a big giant cup over here and we're forming handle after handle before further bullish continuation? Looking at this volume over here, I think I think the direction probably points up, but who knows? Sorry, I just need to take a sip of water here. Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But the overall structure still look bullish to me. I think that this whole sideways over here is still like a little bit of a rectangular cool down after a big giant move up. But there's no way for me to to say, yeah, absolutely, that's absolutely what's happening, right? I mean, I need to see it holding the 20. I need to see it holding the kitchen here, but sometimes they even break down below that and doesn't really mean anything, right? And so far, I guess I can still say that this green candle here is still more or less still engulfing this candle over here. So I actually don't really see anything like super scary in terms of the structure. And I also can see this still being a higher low after this higher high, right? so so as far as I'm concerned, I'm just looking at this. I've been allocating more and more into coin. I also have CoinL. CoinL, I think my average is like around 30. So an average is like somewhere around here, right? Just look at the potential. It can go up to like 80, 100, and go down to like 15 because it's double leverage. There's a lot of decay. If it ends up chopping sideways like it did over here, you're going to end up having a lot of decay, right? So I get that. I accept that. And it's I have maybe around like right now around like 3-to-1 Coinbase to CoinL. And I would add to CoinO if I could, because I still find us to be at a pretty critical support zone. And I think that if we end up bouncing off of there because of how vicious this downtrend has been, it almost feels like they're trying to plummet stocks in a hurry before they want to pump the stocks up. This is what it feels like, a lot of really desperation move. That's what it feels like to me. And it feels like the lower it gets, the better risk reward ratio is going to be. So I'm just gonna try to buy as much as I can, both coin and CoinL, by rotating away from some other stuff, maybe because I still believe in altcoins. As crazy as it sounds, when like the crypto market is plummeting, when Bitcoin price went from like 108 to 77,000, when everything else is that's associated with Bitcoin is just absolutely plummeting. But when I look at overall structure, it still looks okay to me. It looks like it's at the brink of like breaking down, but it always does that before it goes up, right? So I don't know. Like I'm gonna use my best risk reward assessment here. I'm gonna think to myself: is global liquidity increasing or is it decreasing? And I keep on looking at this. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I also keep on looking at the DXY. It's been dropping. It doesn't make sense. Keep looking at yields dropping. It doesn't make sense. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna keep on trying to allocate as much as I can into coin and CoinL. Clean Spark, right underneath the cloud, that's for sure on the monthly. But if you look at the weekly, I'm not going to go through too much deeper here. Look at the weekly, nothing's happened here for the last 3 weeks, right? Look at Mara, nothing's happened here for the last 3 weeks, right? I mean, I can keep on going on and on. Ahmed, you asked about WULF. I can show you WULF here, and I can show you WULF with my GAN here. Geez, it just came back and tested the 45-degree angle over here, finally, right? Broke down underneath the arc. The confluence zone between 0.382 and the 45-degree angle here is going to be the next logical stop, right? Could it plummet all the way down? Yeah, sure, it can do whatever it wants to do, but like this is a pretty decent support zone, right? It did break down underneath a lot of matter support, like Ichimoku Cloud. Look at the monthly, like there's no support here on the monthly at all that I can find, right? It's broken down underneath a lot of things, even broken down underneath my 20-month moving average. Yeah, pretty vicious. But as far as I'm concerned, at least based on looking at the GAN on the weekly here, and also based on looking at the fit level, it did spend a long time forming higher highs and higher lows, get up to 0.618, got rejected, so it went back down to 0.382. Not unusual for something this parabolic to go drop like 80%, like 70, 80% or something crazy. I guess it's not 80%, 70%, right? Just from one fit level down to, to like two levels below. Is holding this as support so far? Is it going to hold? I don't know. Nobody knows. I'm just going to be completely honest here. But it's a support. HIMS, what is it doing? It's let me see here. I think this is the linear chart here. You can see the linear, not linear chart, linear fib levels. Got rejected at 2.61 here. Completely normal behavior. Come back down. Initially, 1.618 could have been a good level to hold. But because we didn't really have any history here at the 1.618, it did come back down to this horizontal zone over here around 1.414. Last week and up, just a wick here. This week so far, we're closing below it, right? There's a potential zone right here between $35 and $31 that might be kind of oscillating here, trying to form a base, hopefully before further bullish continuation, right? If it breaks down underneath the 1.272, then you're going to back test the previous all-time high around $25. But I already think that the bears already have expended a lot of energy to push HIMS all the way down here to where is that right now. It did end up breaking down underneath the tank in the kitchen. I don't think you can see that very well here. I might have to get rid of the fit level. It did break down underneath the tank in the kitchen here, so that does make me maybe a little bit more cautious. But HIMS does that all the time. Breaking down, back test, push through, right? Breaking down, back test, push through, right? HIMS does that all the time. So am I going to get scared here when this is still a pretty much of a parabolic bull trend, right? Well, not necessarily, but you also have to take into consideration whenever something that runs so hard, so fast, kind of like how MicroStrategy did. I would not be surprised a bit if it decides to like cool down for a few months before further bullish continuation. I'm just not going to be surprised by that a bit. So yeah, something to take into consideration. Still a bull trend until proven otherwise, and it is still exerting behavior of taking a stepwise approach on the way up. And the upper Bollinger Band is still expanding. So this is still a bull trend until proven otherwise. But I'm not surprised if it ends up cooling down further. And those are a couple of levels I was just kind of showing. I think there's a good chance $31 would hold, is what I think with HIMS. I don't think I have a Rocket Lab GAN. I don't think I have that. Do I? No, I don't. It's basically back testing the 0.786 here. If I had to do it again, I really have to kind of start from scratch here. And it takes me a while to do it, but I don't think you really need it because it's basically just back testing this zone over here, right? If it breaks down, there's another zone down here below around 13, right? And there's also, a little bit of a gap right there to fill too, right? So yeah, let's see if we hold the current level. If not, down to 13 is a downtrend. So, expect potential further downside, but you're at a support level here. So maybe take one level at a time. I absolutely think that buying all the way up here when everything's just way outside the upper Bollinger Band here is probably a mistake. But buying down here and trying to catch the falling knife on the way down here, this is wave one, this is wave two, then I think it's okay to catch the falling knife for wave two, depending on how brave you are. Again, level is the current level right here, maybe a little bit down lower around like 10, around 14 or 13, somewhere around there. Those are going to be like the levels to try to catch this potential falling knife here in the short term, right? Still a bull trend. I don't have anything against Rocket Lab here. Yeah, it's certainly scary. Let's look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? I'll tell you what I think Bitcoin's doing. I really thought, and I made a post about it too. I really thought that Bitcoin is going to have to hit the low Bollinger Band over here on the weekly, which is 75,000. I don't like to see it, But I'm glad that it's happening after hours, and I think this could be it for the correction. If it even wicks down here and touch these wick up here around like 72,000, it's not a bad thing if it wicks down after hours. If it does that right now, that'd be best. I don't want it to do it during regular hours. I want to see a good reaction. If it comes back down to like 75,000 or even 72,000, I want to see a good reaction from that. But it's pretty much a given now. Like when I saw, hey, there was no miracle that was happening on Sunday, it didn't really end up, closing back above the 20-week moving average. You're all the way down here. You're going to touch a little Bollinger Band. High likelihood. So that's kind of what it's doing right now. Not fun to watch, not easy to watch, but I'm glad that this is happening after hours. So if it's going to do that, it's going to do that, and it's going to do that quick. Hopefully, if it has to go down further to 72,000, then so be it. Right. All of this is really happening on slightly high volume, and we're hoping to see what happens here at that zone around 75 to 72,000. Right. We're hoping to see what happens at that zone. I had a daily Gann chart here. I think it's already kind of broken down underneath my level here, so it's kind of meaningless to look at. Yeah, it's kind of broken underneath my daily here. Like, does it come plumb all the way down here? Not necessarily, but I don't think this Gann chart, as beautifully as it was played out for a long time, it ended up broken down underneath my level here, right? Same thing here, my weekly Gann chart. It broken down underneath my angle here, back tested, it failed to break back above. Probably end up coming back down here and grab some liquidity. Does it come back all the way down to 70,000? Maybe, right? Again, it's Bitcoin and do whatever it wants to do. If it does that, I hope it does it quick. But it could also be one of those things that just kind of hang out here, kind of like it did over here, broke down underneath the angle, it just ended up breaking back above and just go a lot higher from there. Yeah, we'll see. Right now, it looks like Bitcoin's catching a bit because I think it was dropping down to like 77,000. It was catching a bit here, but it's still at risk for touching lower Bollinger Band. Just being completely frank here, it doesn't always have to. Sometimes it stops short of it. Like it stopped short over here. It looks like it was going to touch the 20-week, didn't end up doing it. Sometimes over here it looks like it was going to touch a 20-week, didn't really end up doing it. But in general, when it breaks down underneath the upper likes to touch the lower if it passes through the 20, and vice versa. So I'm looking at this, I'm just like, you know what? You're going to do whatever you want to do. Are you going to have to go sideways here and touch the cloud again before further bullish continuation? Is that what you're going to do? Do you have to come back down to like 70,000 or lower to touch the cloud? Is that going to be another loss? 2 months? Is this cycle just going to be absolutely exhausting, forming these like higher highs and higher lows that just kind of last forever? Bitcoin doesn't behave like this normally, and so far it's behaving like this. It's extremely brutal. It's extremely brutal. Oh man. Okay, so we'll see how it reacts here, but I think that's going to be a pretty natural area for it to go to now. Not that it showing its hand on Sunday, it broke down underneath the 20-week moving average, and yep, that's where we're going to head to. Certainly looks like price action is supporting that notion. Looking at the lower time frame, it's just basically been going down on the low Bollinger Band here. Initially over here is a little bit too far overextended, so this I retraced back to the mean. Couldn't break through the daily, right? Nothing happens if it couldn't break through the daily. It couldn't break through the daily, so down we go, right? Is this going to be continuing to just keep going down without any relief? Well, there are a couple of things here. One is if you look at the on balance volume is not really showing you anything here. You do have a lot of people also pointing out you do have some daily bullish diversions that are being built out here, but price can keep going down on bullish diversions. It doesn't care. But yeah, you got some bullish diversions here. So I think eventually this downtrend is going to stop. You haven't really had any bullish diversions here during the entire downtrend until now, right? So I think the momentum is slowing down in terms of going to the downside, but it's probably got enough momentum to go down to like 75,000, 74,000, somewhere around there. And that's the truth. I'm not going to hold back the truth. So that's what it's doing right now. Part of me also think that this is somewhat necessary. If you also just kind of look at Bitcoin dominance, if you also look at the RSI here, it just keeps on looking like it's getting exhausted with all this move over here. It looks a little bit more like distribution with Bitcoin dominance, because RSI has just been kind of going down as as it kind of just going flat. Like this whole uptrend here seemed to be more or less exhausted here on the daily, on the weekly too. You can see it a little bit more clear on the weekly. A little bit more exhausted. It's trying to form a higher high here, but RSI continues to be a little bit lackluster. So maybe it breaks through and it just keeps on going higher, and then all the altcoins just continue to get destroyed here. I don't know. I never know what exactly is going to happen. I'm just going to follow trend, and sometimes the trend can surprise me to the upside or downside. But I follow trend, and so far it looks like Bitcoin dominance, even the trend is up, is exhausting, is uptrend. When is it going to end up completely exhausted? Nobody knows, right? Meanwhile, you're going to see Ethereum just keep on plummeting down. Meanwhile, you're just going to see Ethereum keep on suffering. I mean, like, this is like my second biggest crypto position is Ethereum. And right now, I think this whole cycle over here, there are two things that you can think about. One thing is this is the bull market, and the bull market is over, and that's it, right? And the bear market, here we go. Things go down to like 600, whatever, 300, whatever, just kept going down, right? The other possibility is that this over here is just a prolonged cycle, which I think it is. And again, I'm going to show you my reasoning behind that, which is really based on the M2 global liquidity, because you usually have a lot of weakness before it breaks out and backtests the breakout of global liquidity. I'm going to keep showing this over and over again if I can find the rectangle here. A bear market starts when global liquidity hits resistance, right? A bear market starts when global liquidity hits resistance, right? And that's where this whole bear market was until the global liquidity broke above the zone and backtested. When it backtested it, that's around our area when you had the COVID, scare, right? And then it just kind of ran from there. Right now, we actually have a little bit of a lag because we backtested it a couple of months ago here, and global liquidity is already broken out, but Ethereum doesn't care. It just looks like it's just like two months of downtrend here, right? But overall, the whole liquidity cycle here seems a little bit longer compared to the last one. Here, the resistance lasted for about a year and a half, and then it broke out and took about a half a year to backtest it before going up higher. Right here, instead of doing like a year and a half over here, it's been going on for like 2 years and a half, right? 2.5 years, right? Broken above, come back that backtest that took about like 8 or 9 months. Like, well, let's take it 7 or 8 months, right? It's just a lot slower here. You can feel it too. You can palpate. You know that the cycle is slower compared to before, right? Or this is the bull market and that's it. We just never have the euphoria of the cycle because crypto is crap, Ethereum is crap. There's a lot of competition. Market cap ends up being diluted, but none of that narrative doesn't make any sense. By the way, Ethereum is buying private jets and they're diluting. No, not really. Actually, they're ever since they went for the merge, the tokenomics actually has been holding up well. Yeah, so none of that narratives really make any sense. I think the only thing that really makes sense is that we're really truly lagging behind this global liquidity breakout. And there are a lot of these like macro scares that are happening, but none of that makes any sense because as global liquidity increases, US dollar drops, right? And yields are also dropping over the last couple of months. So stocks and crypto are lagging. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just like a bunch of like crackpot theory. Maybe I'm just not, getting a hold of the market very well. I'm just making out stuff here, but I still think this area over here is very, very similar to the COVID drop over here, right? I think that this area over here was very, very similar to this prolonged area over here, right? You can see that it's got a little bit of a ascending triangle look to it. Broke above the ascending triangle, back tested, and just ran, right? Have a little bit of ascending triangle look over to it, right? Broke over that, back tested kind of, and then well, I guess this is where the triangle topic back tested and then ran, right? Kind of like it did over here. Hit a peak over here. Here we got a double peak. Here we got a single peak. Couldn't push through this level over here from the previous highs over here, and come plummeting down over here. Found support right around the previous zone over here, kind of like we did over here. Found support right around the previous zone over here, right? And then push have another leg up, which similarly is just not ready yet, right? The global liquidity just started breaking out, right? Global liquidity just started breaking out, right? You see how that also has a little bit of a 2-month lag over here from global liquidity breaking out here, and then 2 months later, Ethereum pumps, right? Here, global liquidity plummeted for about like 4 months, and Ethereum has been plummeting for the 4th month here. So maybe we're experiencing like a 2-month lag. I don't know, right? Didn't really experience it during last cycle over here, but who knows? Or maybe this is just a crackpot theory. Maybe Ethereum is just trash and it's just going to go down to zero. I don't know. Doesn't seem very likely to me, because I think that the whales didn't end up accumulating down here just to pump it up to 4,000 and just end the cycle there. But I could be wrong. Yeah. You know what else I thought was getting close to the bottom? I think that the crypto market is getting close to the bottom, with Bitcoin hitting like the 74, 75,000. I think that could be it. Is because if I look at Doge, I think we're close. It's finally getting close to the weekly Ichimoku cloud down here. My stink bid at around like 15 cents got filled, and right now it's going down to like 14 cents. This big giant vicious downtrend here is just extremely crazily laughable. Is it going to stop here at the cloud? Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows the answer to that. But I do think that we're getting kind of close to a pretty strong support zone. That even if you don't look at the cloud, you have a support zone over here, right? That's also these wicks over here, and also this high over here. So we're at a horizontal zone. We're at the weekly Ichimoku cloud. We push for it. We back test it. Not bad, right? Can it push down through the cloud and test the bottom of the cloud around 13.4 cents? It can, right? Last time, and it's just bouncing right off the Ichimoku cloud. This vicious downtrend from like 22 cents, 23 cents, all the way down to like 8 cents surprised me how vicious that was, right? Right now, what do you have? You have things went from like 47 cents down to maybe like 14 cents, right? Actually, not that different from this downtrend over here. The entire time when it's going down, what happened? There was not really any sellers because the volume is really, really low. S- Same thing over here. This downtrend, there's not really any sellers. Volume is really, really low. So, what did I make out of it? Does it have to come back all the way down to like 12 cents to touch the low Bollinger Band? You remember how I said that, hey, whenever it breaks down underneath the upper Bollinger Band, price tend to gravitate to the lower Bollinger Band. Does it wiggle all the way down to 12 cents, 12.6 cents, 12.5 cents? This is a good time to end the live stream. Oops.